My ex demanded access to my home during custody, and then had his family hide my kids in a hotel suite on his wedding day so I'd miss pickup. Let's see how the judge felt about that. Posted by Bonus West 5031. Our custody arrangement is for each of us to pick the kids up on our day during our 2-hour pickup window. He arrived at the house, and I already had the boys ready. I saw his car pull into the driveway on my camera, so the boys were already halfway to the door when my ex knocks. I open the door, and he is holding the hand of a 4-year-old. He asks to come in and says his fiancée's son needs to use the bathroom. I told him I don't want him to come inside because I don't feel comfortable with him in my house. He has a history of snooping through my things. He asked me to take his future stepson to the bathroom, and I said I was uncomfortable with the situation. He said his stepson needed to pee. I suggested the McDonald's up the road. He said my bathroom would be way cleaner than a McDonald's. At this point, my 11-year-old started pestering his dad to stop so they could leave. My ex said, "Your brother needs to use the bathroom." My son said, "I'll take him." My ex said, "No, your mother would rather he pee his pants. We'll go, and hopefully we'll get to the McDonald's in time." My ex and the boys left. He messaged me afterwards saying I was cruel to a child to punish him, and that's not okay. He said I made us both look bad in front of our kids and should be embarrassed of my actions. I have been fighting with him for so long my perspective is screwed up. Was I in the wrong? Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Can Op do the exchanges at McDonald's? Op response. That doesn't work, because he will be late, and then if I go home he'll want me to come back and then say I'm denying him his custody time. Judge said he can have a 2-hour window for pickup, but it's not fair to me to have to sit in a parking lot for 2 hours. So this is what was agreed upon with the judge for both of us. It's not perfect, but everything else we tried was worse. Commenter 2. Does Op attorney knows about this issue about her ex trying to gain access to her house and the child exchange window time? Op response. He knows about the windows, but I didn't tell him about what happened yet because I'm still processing it. He's already dealing with the complaint my ex made about me taking the boys to see Superman after he told me he wanted to take them. I am so anxious about telling him there's a new issue. Commenter 3. Okay, so I like to ask my husband these scenarios and get his 2 cents. He seems to think, because you have stated you've had multiple problems with the ex, that this was more about control. He wanted you to do what he said. Was the boy hurting and crying because he had to go? If not, my spouse thinks it was a power play by your ex. If it were me, I would have asked my son to take him and told the ex to go wait in his car, but if this douche just liked to jerk you around then NTA. Op response, he was holding my ex's hand and kind of looking around. He didn't say anything. Update 1. 1 week later, I did talk to my lawyer about what happened. He said we can address it at the hearing we already have scheduled about the movie situation. I thought that was that, but of course it was my turn to pick up the kids today. When I arrived at my ex's place, he opened the door very wide and invited me in. I was suspicious and said no thank you. He kept insisting I come in so we can show the kids we are civil, but I had a bad feeling. I said I would just wait in the car for the boys to come out. I got in my car and texted my older son that I was there. A short while later he texted me back saying his dad said they couldn't leave unless I got them. I went back to the door and knocked again. Again, my ex invited me inside. I said I didn't want to come in, and that was when my boys showed up. My ex's fiancé was right behind them, telling them to come back upstairs. They ran to me and we left. I don't know what his game is, but I'm not falling for it whatever it is. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Make a note and send it to lawyer, basically kidnapping your kids. All meetings are now at a public location, so don't pick McDonald's or a place where the kids will want and expect junk food. No more pickups at house, and don't even get out of your car. Commenter 2. Have your boys said anything they might have heard or seen? Weird she'd be trying to pull them back. You are definitely NTA, gotta protect them children. Get drop-offs in public areas instead of homes. Good luck. Op response. My son said he wanted to go downstairs when I was at the door, but my ex's fiancé said he needed to wait. Then when I texted him he went downstairs, but my ex sent him back up. When he heard me at the door, the second time he ran downstairs with my younger son. He doesn't know why they wanted me to come in, but it's pretty clear they did. Op explains why she left her ex. Op response, you want to know something funny? Spending time with him was the best part. It was everything else that sucked. I had no privacy. He went through my phone and computer almost every night. If I asked to use my phone while he was going through it, I was hiding something. He would dig through the drawers looking for hidden stuff and mess everything up, and if I complained, he would do it again because there must have been something there if I was complaining. I had to account for every penny I spent, Every moment I wasn't being productive. When we were doing things together, he was so charming, funny, and sweet. He's so handsome and smart and fit. But it got to the point where I was scared whenever he wasn't around because I couldn't trust myself to make decisions without his approval. I was becoming a shell of myself. Update 2. 6 days later. Just concluded our hearing, and it went okay, all things considered. Judge said that neither of us need the permission of the other to take the children to age-appropriate experiences like movies. He told X not to tell me I can't take the kids to do certain things because he wants to do them. If he wants to do them, he can, but so can I, so that was a win. Judge was annoyed that there was another drop-off issue. He was especially annoyed because the reason he gave my ex a 2-hour window for drop-offs was because he said he needed the flexibility since he is a caretaker of his fiancée's children. If he's taking them with him to drop-offs, why does he need 2 hours? Judge told him do not take his fiancée's children to my house and do not ask to come inside my house. He told me not to ask to go inside his house either. He also told me not to rush my ex and to be patient and allow the children time to come to the door. I wasn't rushing him, but I didn't say that to the judge. I just agreed. X also dropped the bombshell that the week of the wedding he needs me to pick the kids up from the resort the wedding is at instead of his house, because they are going on their honeymoon straight from the resort and not returning home. I am very uncomfortable with this, and my lawyer said that is too much of a burden to put on me. The judge disagreed with my lawyer and said we all have to be flexible sometimes. So I am stuck doing that. I feel like he intentionally started fights about the previous 2 issues he knew he would lose on, so the judge would side with him on the final issue to make things fair. Maybe I'm just paranoid. So 2 wins and a loss. Hopefully they'll be too happy about being married to pull any stunts. Relevant comment. Commenter, could Op stay at the hotel on the day of the wedding once her sons are done at their father's wedding? Op response, it is not a long drive. The resort is right outside the city. I cannot stay at the hotel, as that is not within my budget, and I have no interest in using their pool and then being shamed for doing so by my ex-husband's friends and family. I cannot think of a less appealing prospect. Update 2.5 months later. Well, I thought I would update everyone on what happened when I picked my kids up for my ex-husband's wedding. First of all, I got there at 8:20. As soon as I arrived, I texted my ex and my older son that I was there. Then I walked into the lobby. I checked my phone and had no response from either. I waited until 8:40 and then walked to the front desk. I said I was there to pick up my children and asked if maybe my ex had left a message at the desk for me. They knew nothing. I called my older son and he didn't answer. I called my ex and he didn't answer. At this point my anxiety was bad and I felt sick. At 9 I called my lawyer and his receptionist said he would call me back. I kept calling my older son and he didn't answer. This was unusual for him. I was scared something had happened. I asked the front desk which room they were in and they couldn't tell me, which I understood. At 9:20 I called the police. It took them a while to get there. When they arrived it was past 10, the pickup window. I was panicking. All I could think was that my ex was going to tell the judge I was late. When the police arrived they asked the front desk for my ex's room number. They told the police he had checked out. I didn't know what to think. They asked the front desk if they had kids with them when they left, and they said no. They said my kids were actually booked in a suite with her kids and his parents, and they had paid for late checkout. The officers told me to wait downstairs and went to the room. They came back with my kids and their stuff, and we left. My oldest said his grandfather took his phone away, and they stayed up late and had no alarm set. Both boys said their grandparents were furious when the cops showed up. My lawyer eventually called me back, and we scheduled another custody hearing for after the honeymoon. At the hearing my ex tried to put everything on me. He said he told me the kids would be with his parents, he didn't, and that I staged the whole thing to make him look bad. He also said me calling the police traumatized the kids. I showed the judge all of our communication. The judge even interviewed my kids, who said even they didn't know they would be with their grandparents until the prior evening, by which point my oldest's phone has already been confiscated. The judge gave me primary custody with visitation and said all pickups and drop-offs will now be at neutral locations with a 30-minute window. He was done. He was pissed. My ex has filed to have our case transferred to another judge because this one is clearly biased against him. In the meantime, though, the boys and I are happy and doing well. They're both getting great grades so far this year.